Hello everybody out there on YouTube. I've seen a few things online recently about composting indoors, whether such a thing is possible or desirable or hygienic and all that sort of thing. It very much is. It is possible. It's something I've done for a couple of years. I've also more recently started a worm bin in my kitchen, which is very easy to do. So I'm just going to show you my setup. Maybe it'll give you a couple of ideas and allay some of your fears, should you have any. So enjoy. Right, here I've got some of the trays of pea shoots that I've been growing recently. I've been snacking on those over the last couple of days. There's quite a few posts on my blog if you want to have a look about that. Very exciting, very rewarding thing to do, growing microgreens at home, and pea shoots seem like a good way to start. It's pretty foolproof. So anyway, I've got the remains of those now that I'm just going to compost. This is just a tub that I keep compost in to use as I'm planting new things. So it's the the fresh compost that's been processed by my bin and by my wormery. I keep my compost just inside my boiler cupboard right here. All it is a compost bin. Well, it's it's a plastic tub which I use as a compost bin. It's sealed, so obviously you're not getting any smells or anything like that escaping, and I just use a layer of like fleece material over the top, which also just gives it an extra layer of protection. It's nice and warm in this cupboard, so hopefully the compost itself should stay pretty warm, which is good because it breaks things down a lot quicker. Let's have a look inside. Look at that, absolutely revolting. That's the mung beans that I've thrown onto the compost because they didn't work out at all as microgreens last week. But as you can see, I throw all sorts of stuff in here, coffee filters, vegetable scraps, all that sort of thing. It breaks down, it takes a while. Obviously there's some onions that haven't really broken down much yet, but they will. Bits of plants, etc. And I'm just going to throw the rest of the pea shoots in there now. Right, so the pea shoots have gone in, and I'm just going to give this a stir now to get some nice fresh compost out of the bottom that I'm going to start growing some more. The next round of microgreens in, probably some more peas because they are yummy. So I've just had to dig around in the bottom of my compost bin, and this is what I've got. Some lovely fresh compost, nice broken down organic matter that I can just use for growing stuff in. Add to your compost whatever you want. And that's all there is to say on the subject, really. So you just need a nice plastic tub with a sealable lid. I use some of this great fleece material over the top just to keep any flies off away, that sort of thing. Make sure there's no space where anything can get in or out. I've no problems or anything like with pests, flies, rats, heaven forbid, anything like that. That's just tucked away in my boiler cupboard. Something you can do very easily, very cheaply, rather than throwing away food and organic matter. Reuse it. Fantastic. And over here in the kitchen, I've got my wormery. Now, a wormery is just a compost bin with a lot of worms in it. But the difference is really the temperature. You need to keep it a lot cooler than you do a compost bin because that's the sort of conditions that worms like to live in. So you don't want it tucked away in a cupboard somewhere like I had with my compost bin. You want it somewhere where there's an airflow, and crucially what you need are two tubs, one stacked on top of the other. So in the top bin here, that's where the worms are, and that's where I throw in all the scraps, and the bottom bin just allows for the water to drain out of the bottom, which you can then use as a fertilizer to add to your compost and to your plants and so on. So there's a few holes drilled in the bottom of this tub. I just used a nail and a hammer, just banged a few holes in. So the water gradually trickles down and you can very easily lift that tub off. Let's have a look. Got some potatoes that I'm growing here on top, just to weigh it down really. Just an old lid from something over there. Once again, fleece material. I can't stress highly enough how useful this sort of thing is for indoor gardening. And there is the wormery. Oh, I've left a trowel in there. Little gardening fork. I throw paper, leaves, more pea shoot scraps, anything in there really. Worms. You can't see them, they're very shy because they like to hide down at the bottom, but there is a good colony of them, believe it or not. Oh look, there's some baby ones. See, they lay a lot of eggs. I assume they're baby worms anyway. See if we can find some of the adults. I know you're there, there's one. There's a worm. There's quite a few more kicking around in there, you'll just have to take my word for it. You want, there's another one. Not ordinary earthworms that you would find in the garden, but something called red wrigglers, or tiger worms they're also known as. I bought them on eBay, believe it or not. You can buy worms on eBay. That's the sort of wonderful world that we live in. And they come in a box that says urgent live worms on it. Look at that one. That's amazing. You throw them in, and that's it. I'll probably make another video at some point about starting off a wormery, because there's a little bit more to it than just making a compost bin, but the point I want to make here is, here it is in my kitchen. Some people might think that's disgusting. Who cares? It's not. It's very useful. It's much better than just throwing things, wrapping them in plastic and ending up on a landfill somewhere. The fleece material I use just keeps away flies, once again. And then you don't just want that on top, because that's probably not enough to keep pests away. Which is why I just add this lid on top, which is then a useful table. You could use that as, you could even have a coffee table with a worm bin incorporated into it. Imagine that. Why the hell not? But I just, you know, I've got some potatoes growing, so I'll keep them on top of that. That is that.